Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button for me, hit like, also leave a comment. All those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it if you do that, and as an added bonus, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music. Just like this, today we're going to take a look at the new Steve Perry solo album here, and I'll get into what all of that is. It came out December 4th of 2020. And we all know Steve Perry's history, but for those of you that don't, he joined Journey in 1977 and released their first album together, 1978's Infinity. And he spent 10 years with Journey until 1987. Their time together, of course, produced many hits. We all know them, just amazing sales figures, climbing, huge heights in what they were able to achieve as a band, including the releasing of 1981's Escape, probably their biggest album, which featured Who's Crying Now, Don't Stop Believing, Open Arms, and was ultimately certified 9 times platinum. And then also 1983's album Frontiers, this one here featuring Separate Ways, Send Her My Love Faithfully, and was certified 6 times platinum. And following the release of 1986's Raised on Radio, and of course the subsequent tour that came from that, the band went on hiatus. And it wasn't until 1995 that they reunited and recorded the platinum-selling Trial by Fire. Now, however, the band did not tour for that album and ultimately parted ways. So, during his time in Journey, though, he wasn't just doing Journey. He also started a solo career, and he released the 1984 album Street Talk, which is just, in my opinion, an absolute fabulous release from him. And this one here featured the song Oh Sherry and was certified 2 times platinum. Now, he did follow that up with the recording of an album called Against the Wall in 1988, but ultimately it was never released. It was shelved. And so it would be 1994 as the follow-up album for The Love of Strange Medicine that finally came out, and that one featured the singles on it You Better Wait and Missing You, ultimately being certified gold. And so at this point, unfortunately, it would be 24 long years before he would return with his 2018 album Traces. And this one here, in my opinion, was just a stunning return. Vocally, Steve sounds like his old self on it. The album was immaculately constructed and produced, and I think it fits really nicely within the catalog that he has created, both with Journey and as a solo artist. And at this point, one might be forgiven for thinking that it's going to be another 20 plus years until we get something else from Steve Perry. However, in this case, only 2 years, which brings us to what we want to talk about, this album here, which is called Traces, Alternate Versions and Sketches. And as the title infers, it's not new songs, it's related to the 2018 album Traces, and it's a collection of 8 songs from that album Traces. They're done in alternate acoustic or stripped versions. And so Steve believes that any song should stand up to what he calls the campfire test, which really just means an intimate recording or performance of the song without any embellishments on it. And since many of the songs on Traces had started out in this manner, he felt that the album itself or some of the tracks from it could stand up to such a test. And so he wanted fans to hear the songs in their original, raw, ultimate simplicity that they had started out in. And so while there were 15 tracks on the original Traces, of course, depending upon whether you pick up the standard, which was 10, and then there were some versions that came out through like Best Buy with a few bonus tracks, but he did release a deluxe edition ultimately that came out with 15 tracks on it. And so of those 15 songs, he only focused on 7 of them. The song most of all appears in 2 versions here on this album. And so these new versions combine elements from the original recordings, but they also add to this new vocal part and new instrumentation on it as well. And the album is described by Steve as a way that he is saying goodbye to the Traces album, but also a way to wrap that part of his career. So let me give you a little rundown on the tracks here and what's different about them. So track 1, most of all, this one here is the one that there's 2 versions of on the album. This is a radio mix. It's remixed with a different approach to it. Some of the parts are removed and the basic mix levels on it are changed. Then track 2, Noah Racin, this is an acoustic version. It was my favorite song from the 2018 Traces album. This one here, started out as an acoustic song originally, so that's why Steve wanted to return it to the original version so fans could hear it in that manner. Track 3, I Need You, which is an acoustic version. This one here, the tempo is slowed down on it, and the overall song itself has been done much simpler. Track 4, No Cryin', also acoustic. For this one here, he went back to the original sketch from the demos and decided to recreate from the ground up on that one using those original sketched versions of it. Then track 5, Most of All, this is that second version of the other track that was track number 1 on here. This one is a stripped version of it. And for this one here, the reason it's on here twice is that he said he loves this song so much, he really believes in it. So he wanted to do the remixed version, but at the same time, he wanted fans to hear it in the stripped version, the way that he's doing these other tracks on here. So he did do that and has included it. This version is piano, voice, and cello. Very nicely done too. Track 6, We're Still Here, acoustic. This one here, just a straight acoustic presentation of the original track, but he said he included it here in order to remind everyone that we are still here. And then of course that life, continues on. Then we get to track 7, You Belong to Me. This one is a stripped version, and this one here changes the tempo and the rhythm on it, and the song is presented more as a ballad. And this version here, I particularly like. Out of probably all of the new versions of tracks on here, I think I like You Belong to Me, the stripped version, best. And then track 8, Sunshine's Gray. This one's an acoustic. This one was originally written by John Five, and if you don't know who John Five is, he's actually Rob Zombie's guitar player, and he's played with David Lee Roth. He's done a lot of different things, but he's a really heavy guitar player, but he's also got his hands on a lot of other things going on. So he originally co-wrote this one with Steve Perry, but this one here strips it all down, and it is just guitars, bass, and some strings on it without all those embellishments and things that John Five had brought to the original version. And so that's the 8 tracks on it, and he said that he could have gone more. He thought about doing more versions of songs and everything, but he ultimately decided to stop and to make what would fit on a vinyl. So the total time on this is 32 minutes, certainly fitting for a vinyl. But he also just wanted this to be something that was very succinct, unlike the ultimate 15 tracks that became the final version of the Traces release here. So let's take a look at this. This is the version here, and let's look at both of these together, because the artwork is very similar. I like the coloration actually far better on this one here, but then there's some added things on this one here. You can see that there's some recording studio equipment and things. And like on the original Traces, it unfolds and you get the full artwork like that, which is just fantastic to actually see that. The artwork, if nothing else, it's worth getting this album a second time just because of the artwork. It's so beautifully done on here, and it was so intricately done. You can see a great photo there of Steve Perry on the inside as a gatefold. Booklets in this part here, which I'll pull out and I will thumb through in just a second. And the CD, of course, is over here in this part of it. So yeah, with how great the artwork was on this thing, it was just nice to finally see that in a new way too. You get your lyrics and everything like that in here, and you get another shot here of Steve, looking in a mirror there, kind of a thing, and a line from the song Most of All, and then just remainder lyrics and that sort of stuff there, and then backside on that. So, in my opinion, fantastic presentation. It's nice to revisit those songs. I do think that the 2018 album Traces was quite worthy of fitting within the catalog, and it was, in my opinion, worth a 24-year wait on it. Beautifully done. So to then hear those songs presented in this new light was welcome. Now the good thing is here, you know, or I should say in wrapping up here, I've got some good news in that in a recent interview that Steve Perry gave, he announced that he's already working on new songs, that he had started this during the lockdown. So that's really great there. And he promises fans that they're not going to have to wait very long to hear these new songs. Which I certainly think is great. I don't want to have to wait another 24 years here. But of course, in the meantime, you know, I highly recommend checking out these alternate versions of the songs that are from Traces. And, you know, if you're a fan of Steve or Journey or just great melodic rock, I think you're going to really enjoy this album here. And if for some reason you didn't pick up the 2018 Traces, do pick that up. It is a fantastic release, and I highly recommend it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.